we will start with the satsang today. फिर कल भी होगा. तो आज शाम से मैं थोड़ा सा क्रिया शुरू करूँगा, थोड़ा. तो कल आपको समय मिलेगा फिर. Sorry. From evening I will start a little bit of kriya towards that direction. So tomorrow you will get the whole day to work on it, practice and so on. Yesterday, when I left from the satsang, हमारे एक पुराने बंधु, old friend, gave me a chit. Beautiful handwriting. And it said, please teach us how to reach the absolute supreme Brahman, which is beyond even the mind, and so on and so forth. So, for all of us, for all of you, and now also for the friend who gave the note, please listen carefully to what I am going to say now. Perhaps at the end of it you may go where you have to go and go out of this place free. Who knows? We can't predict, right? Now the only problem with the question is, take me there so that I can go there. Nobody can take you there, nor can you go there. When all going ceases, it is there. Let's start on that note. How can you go to something which is everywhere? So stop going. Stop reaching. And then when everything stops, it is there. And it's not something different from your own self. Okay. So as I said yesterday, today I am going to deal with one of the Upanishads. Principal Upanishads. There are many Upanishads, out of which there are 11 principal Upanishads, on which all Acharyas have commented, mostly. Adi Shankara definitely, but also other Acharyas. Now the thing is, among the principal Upanishads, there are 11 of them, out of which I am going to pick one today, which kind of sums up what we are seeking in a Vedantic way. I will afterwards link it to the way of devotion, bhakti and so on, but here purely it goes in the Vedantic way. But when the goal is reached, it's the same. Right? Vedantic, yogic, bhakti. But the Upanishad particularly goes in the Jnana Marga. And one who approaches Jnana Marga with no arrogance, with humility, understands very soon that the intellect has its own limitations, beyond which it cannot go. It can create a blueprint. We cannot go beyond that. So therefore the heart is very essential. Anyway, we'll come to that later. So what I want to do now is to take up the Mandukya Upanishad. Now this is very interesting that the Mandukya Upanishad has only 12 verses. Only 12 verses. And in these 12 verses, nobody says what you have to do, or what you don't have to do, or what is a technique. Nothing is discussed. What is discussed then? The discussion is purely on the states of consciousness, which, leaving aside one, is common to all human beings. All human beings. You could be from Yavan or Turkey, but you're all human beings. So it applies to every human being, the common states of consciousness, out of which one, of course, it's not so common but possible. That's the intention of the Upanishad. Now, the name of the Upanishad is Mandukya. In fact, A person who I very much respect and listen to, is younger than me, once said I heard him on the YouTube saying that if you read the Mandukya, there is nothing else need to be read. I wouldn't say that, it's carrying it a little too far, but yeah, in a way it is true. This person is an interesting man. He talks from the Ramakrishna Mission, New York. So, I don't listen to any other videos, including mine. It's terribly boring to listen to your own. So anyway, why is it called the Mandukya Upanishad? This comes from the Yajurveda. Why is it called the Mandukya Upanishad? Manduk in Sanskrit means a frog. Was there a rishi who was a frog? Why is it called Mandukya Upanishad? In fact, some people go so far as to say there was a rishi whose name was Mandukya. So I had no other way other than asking Maheshwarnath Babaji, why is it called a Mandukya? He said, but he had a way of saying, which you would think he's saying, he said, it probably is. He always started like this. Like the Upanishad saying, iti shushrama purvesham, so said the ancients. The same way he said, so said the ancients. That's because they are not delighted to see a byline. Who said this, right? As long as it is the truth, it doesn't matter who said it. So this is exactly what he told me first. Don't look at the form, shape, or appearance of someone who is teaching you the Upanishad. Why? Then you're likely to be caught by the outer trappings. Even if the guy looks like a frog. Of course, frogs are also beautiful sometimes. Anybody who's afraid of toads? Many people. Even what is important is what comes out, the teaching, rather than the shape of the guy who teaches, or the person, or the source from where it comes. This is the first point he made. The second point he made is that, like you won't read this in any Upanishad commentaries, what Babaji told me. Even I haven't written in it. Maybe this will go on to YouTube. Second point was that the frog is one unique creature, which we know, common creature, which goes through visible metamorphosis. In the beginning, it's a tadpole with a tail swimming in the water, right? Then the tail falls off. The shikha is removed. And one becomes what? A sannyasi, enters the jnana marga. Do you know that when the viraja homa is conducted to take sannyas, the shikha is cut and put there. The thread is broken and thrown in. Probably you don't know. Have you seen a single Shankaracharya wearing? Not possible, everything is off. You are like anybody else, right? So, the tadpole drops its tail and then becomes a creature, an amphibian, which lives both in water and in land. At that time, it could only live in the water. So, this metamorphosis of a frog indicates that when we approach the truth, I'm not saying physically you should cut off that's not what I mean. We cut off this ego tail that hangs and put it into the fire, along with all distinctions of human beings, created by human beings, and then start the journey. The frog's metamorphosis at different stages of life also represents the different states of consciousness through which we all move. So, Babaji said, perhaps this is the reason why it's called Mandukya Upanishad, and being a faithful disciple, I accept it. So, what does it deal with? What are the common states of, see, after all, even if you do Kriya, or you do Bhajan Kirtan, or you do the practice of yoga, or you walk on the Vedantic path purely saying not this, not this, not this, until you come to something which cannot be eliminated anymore, whatever be the path you follow, all of us pass through common states of consciousness. What are these common states? Now, the Mandukya Upanishad is so important that the first commentary that appeared that we know of was written by Gaudapada, who was the grand guru of Adi Shankara. They say that he sat in Badrinath and wrote the commentary on the Mandukya, which is voluminous. Some parts of it, if you read, you might think he was a Buddhist. Not the case. Then Shankara wrote a commentary on Gaudapada's Karika, which is voluminous. I am saying this because it's so important, such an important Upanishad that no one has spent so much time studying it than they did for this. Okay. Now it starts with explaining the Pranava, the Om. We know the Pranava has Om, right? It starts by describing Om, which in the Mundaka Upanishad and the Mandukya Upanishad and Kathopanishad, especially in the Kathopanishad, the great Lord of Death, Yama, says to this Nachiketas, "Oh Nachiketas, this is the bridge between this world and that." On this Om, the Upanishad begins with describing Om. Now the usual description of Om, which is also correct, we all know that it consists of 3 syllables, A, U and Ma, Im. Om. A represents the simplest sound that anybody can make, which even a small child can make. Even a person who cannot talk can make. A. The A sound is called Akshara in Sanskrit, indestructible. You know, in Sanskrit, if you put an A before a word, it becomes negated. Kshara is destruction, Akshara, indestructible. A sound, simple, first sound that anybody makes before it gets modified into other sounds. Therefore, accordingly, traditionally, the sound A represents the beginning of whole process of creation. Not only the beginning of the whole process of creation externally, the Brahmanda, but also in the Pinda, which means the beginning of thought in the human mind is also A. The first sound. Alphabet, which is derived from alpha, beta. So this Akshara, therefore, represents the complete manifestation of the universe. I am deliberately using the word manifestation instead of creation, because everything is manifested from the Hiranyagarbha, golden egg, and then in the end, when the Manvantara is over, it gets reabsorbed. So it's a manifestation, not a new creation. It goes in cycles. Yugas, Manvantaras, destruction, then again back, Pralaya, and back to new creation. It's a cycle. The ancients did not think that somebody is sitting in a workshop, creating the world with a hammer and nails and throwing it down. No. It's a manifest emanation from Brahma. And then it goes back. In some places it is said like the breath. When you breathe out, the whole creation, it's all gone back. Actually, in human mind also is like that. When you stop all the thoughts, you go to the origin. It's an inner prayer. And then when you open your eyes and the world starts, another manifestation of creation. Right? So, A represents Brahma, creation. Then there is O, U, the middle syllable O. O represents Mahavishnu, who is considered to be the preserver of all that has been created. Narayana, in the words of the Bhagavatam, Sriman Narayana. He's a wonderful man. If he is there, he's preserving everything else and happily sleeping. Ananta Sayana, unending sleep. So can we also in some way, while we do go about all our creation business, let the mind rest forever? Ananta Sayana, not ordinary sleep. And he sleeps on a turned snake, Vasuki. So, this is the A and U. Now traditionally, Ma represents Maheshwara, which means we would commonly call it destruction. I would say regeneration. Because if the old is not destroyed, there is no space for the new. Because we don't love to go, we like to hang on. But the fact is, the old has to go and the new has to come. Not only in mind, but also in the body. If this process doesn't happen, then everything is kind of stale, there is no movement. So, Ma is the ending of one field of creation. Because when you say Om, you close your mouth. If you have to utter anything else, you have to again open your mouth and start again. So this is the end temporarily of all movement. Right? So that represents Maheshwara, who, although the word Shiva means auspiciousness and Ananda, if you look at the Sanskrit dictionary, one of the words, couple of words, Sanskrit, every word has so many meanings, but at least this is very prominent. One is auspiciousness and the other is, what did I say? Ananta. What? Anantam Anandam Brahma. This is the Veda. So, this is Om. This is normally what we understand by Om. Now the Mandukya Upanishad looks at it slightly differently. The Mandukya Upanishad says that A, the sound, when you wake up, first say A. A is also the word when you're delighted. Ah. It's also the word when you say, when you have fear. Ah. And commonly, whatever part of the world you belong to, it's very common when you agree with something to say almost Om, but The U and the Ma are there. Well, in the US it's but it doesn't matter. Still. So anyway, ha comes from Om. Anyway, so the A, the first sound of Om, according to the Mandukya, represents a state of consciousness which is common to all human beings, also other creatures. At the moment we are dealing with the human beings, because we don't know how the other creatures operate. And what does it represent? The common wakeful state. the state of wakefulness which is called Jagrata Avasta. Jagrat meaning awake. Shankaracharya asked a question in the beginning itself, are we really awake? But it doesn't matter, we'll come to that later. Normally we know what is awake. I hope everybody is awake. Is it too boring you go to sleep? Now, we don't have much to describe the waking state. Because why? Because we all think we know what it is. We don't know, but we think we know. It's normal. Pancha Indriyas function, the five senses. The mind absorbs the impressions, digests it and creates images, and then you relate back. Again using your Indriyas. This is the process of waking. So what did I say, sir? Generally 12 hours we are in Jagrat, the rest is Sushupti. So this is nothing to be explained, except that even the process of wakefulness is not as simple as it seems. How do we know we are awake? Because we are aware of the world. If you go deep into it, the process of awareness of the world itself is a little bit complicated. You think, oh, I see. This process of seeing is not so simple. Your image falls in the lens of my eye, then it goes into the retina, and then the retina, from there the images go like bites into the optical nerve center, then the brain registers it, and I say, oh, this is so and so. Although it's so automatic and fast that we don't give a single thought to it, it happens. Same with hearing, same with smell, taste. If a person is jaundice, you give him the best food. No taste. There's nothing wrong with the food, it's me. So this is the waking state that we know of, where we think everything is real. Question, but of course we think everything is real. Then there is the next state. So according to the Mandukya, the U, the middle syllable U, represents the next state, which is also common to all human beings, which is the waking dream state. Swapna Avasta. Common. Not only night dreaming, daydreaming also. But we are discussing night dreaming here. Now this Swapna, again being common to all beings, is to be looked at carefully. It's a little more complicated than the waking state. And everybody goes through it at some time or the other. It's called Swapna Avasta. It is also called Tejasa in the Upanishads. Tejasa means lit with Tejas. Why? Because when you sleep, your eyes are closed, everything is dark, but you see the dreams in full light, which means self, what do you call it? English word? Swayam Prakashit, self-illumined. This is the dream state. Now here look carefully. Once upon a time, the great King Janaka was also called a Rajarishi, and the father of Sita, king of Videha, had a dream. Of course, he was lying in his palace, in his beautiful bed. Why is he called Rajarishi? Because he was a king, but he remained a rishi, even though he was surrounded by all luxury, not an easy thing. One day, he dreamt that he was a beggar. In the dream, he was suffering. He had no food. It was winter, he didn't have warm clothes. He didn't even have a bowl if somebody gave food to eat. The pain, the pangs of hunger were very much there. And he was suffering in the dream. Then he woke up from the dream. And he found that he was lying in his palace. I don't know if they had ACs then, but whatever, in total luxury. Can't say beyond, it could be there was, we don't know. If there were flying vehicles, there certainly could have been something like that. Anyway, so he got up from his dream and he had this question, what would have happened if I had continued in this dream? Because I didn't wake up because of myself, I just woke up. I didn't say wake up, I woke up. And now I see I'm okay, I'm in full luxury, I'm the king. What would have happened if this dream continued? Would I have been a beggar? Would I have been hungry? No place to go? So his guru was the great Yajnavalkya. So Yajnavalkya visited him. So he asked this question, Sir, please tell me, am I a king or am I a pauper? Because at that time I really thought all the symptoms, all the reactions were that of a man hungry with no clue. And now so what is this? Which is my true ID? Question of one's ID has been going on for 1,000 years or more. Who am I? Identity crisis. In fact, there is an Upanishad which begins with Kene Shitam, Keno, which means who. You might call it the Who Upanishad. So he had this crisis of whether I am this or that. Because in the dream state I was this, when I wake up. Now, his question was, in the dream state, everything was real to me. In the dream state. Now, when I am awake, I say, oh, it was a dream. That time it was very real to me. So his additional corollary to his question was, if that is the case, now I am saying that I am awake. And that's very real to me. Who knows, this is also another long dream like the one I had. Maybe one day I will wake up from this and say, hey, what is this? Right? So his guru, his teacher, Yajnavalkya said, look, my dear friend, both the states being relatively unreal can be called unreal. Because something has to be real, it has to be always real. Anything that is relatively real. And in this state, that does not exist. That state, this does not exist. So, we can say that both are not real. They are real depending on which state you are in. But in all these three states, we'll come to the third. In all these states, there is a witness. There is a witness. The witness is identified with the state, so it thinks it is going through all this. Like for instance, you have a dream and there's a tiger chasing you. You don't think it's a dream, right? When the tiger is chasing you in the dream, do you? It's so real that even when you wake up, you're looking around. And all your physical symptoms are the same. As if the tiger, your heart is beating, you're sweating, perspiring, your pulse is fast. It takes some time for it, oh, it was a dream. Right? So all the symptoms are there also. But the guy who was watching the tiger, which said, here is a tiger, and the guy who now wakes up and there is no tiger, that witness is there. That witness doesn't change. The reactions change, the world changes, The atmosphere changes, the environment changes, but the one who was watching, Sakshi, the witness, is still there. So, Yajnavalkya says to Janaka, that witness is your only reality. Today you may be a king, tomorrow you may be a beggar, but that consciousness that feels the whole thing is a continuous identity, which is the witness. And it is none of these. Okay, now we'll come to the next state. We have only discussed A and U. See, whatever kriya you do or whatever you do, this is what we are looking for. That's why I wanted to go to the roots. And also because Patanjali, being a very practical person, first discusses the goal before does a practice. Samadhi pada. Sadhana pada comes second. There is a third one called Vibhuti pada. I hope it was not there. I wish, because many people get caught up there in the Vibhuti pada. Cannot escape. They're stuck. Suddenly one gets some extraordinary capacities and then, oh yeah. Anyway, so what did I say? I was wondering if you were dreaming or... So, I said Om, right? Now there is a Ma in the end, Om. So that Ma represents in the Upanishad Sushupti, deep sleep, where there is not even a dream. Everybody has a very short duration of deep sleep, where the dreams are. It's called REM sleep, rapid eye movement, because you are dreaming, so your eye also darts. In the last, which is Sushupti, dreamless sleep, the eye doesn't dart, everything is settled down. A short period, that is what gives you full rest. Now what happens in deep sleep? No need to understand any philosophy, it's normal. You neither recognize the outside world, nor is there a dream, so there is no inner world. There is no inner cognition, there is no outer cognition, but there is something there, nebulous. The I is there, which has witnessed the waking but you don't know then that if it is there or not. You're not even aware of that. It's a complete state of stillness where you don't even know who you are. The boss and the factory worker both go to sleep. In sleep, they are all equal. Perhaps the worker sleeps better than the boss, because the boss has to worry about this guy works hard and goes to sleep. But they are equal. Why? You have no feeling, you don't understand a thing, which is why Sushupti or deep sleep gives you rest. You know why? The moment I am aware who I am, all ego problems start. I walked into the wedding, nobody recognized me. Don't you think it's a wonderful thing? You can go and sit in a corner and eat your heart's content. No, but they didn't. All these problems. But when you are asleep, none of these exist. You don't know where you are, you don't know who you are, complete rest. But there certainly is an ID somewhere witnessing even that, even though at that point you are not aware of it. How? When you wake up in the morning or afternoon or whenever, when you wake up, we always say, oh, that was a blissful sleep. Now there is a remembrance of that bliss at that time. That there was bliss, there is no question. If there were dreams, then sometimes you don't have bliss because maybe terrible dreams. Deep, dreamless sleep, Sushupti, You wake up in the morning or whenever and you say, oh, that was so blissful. So somebody was there experiencing it, that bliss. But at that point, you didn't know that, right? You're not aware of it at that point. Please listen carefully. You don't have to attend tomorrow's satsang. If you catch it, get out. Go and walk under the trees. So, at that point you don't know it, but there certainly is somebody there, a witness, an awareness, a sakshi, which is experiencing beautiful bliss and which remembers when you are awakened. The brain remembers. You want any more proof? How many times have you switched off your alarm and gone back to sleep? Why? Because it's so blissful. Who wants to come out into this? It's so lovely. Unfortunately, at that point, you're not aware. You only are aware when you get up. Remembrance is there, but not awareness. Think of a state where in that sushupti, one is aware. You can't, theoretically, you cannot even think of that. Just saying, as a possibility, that in that deep state, there is a witness aware of it. Not possible, generally. It is possible. If that happens, that is called Turiya. In Sushupti, if there is complete awareness, it is called Turiya. Unfortunately, you cannot achieve or attain Turiya through deep sleep. That would have been nice. I don't want to do any, I'll sleep. Why? Because I'm going to go to Turiya. Not possible. If Turiya has to be understood or felt or known, it has to be done in the waking state. If it happens in the waking state, that this pure witness is there, which normally is there only in deep sleep, then you have touched Turiya. And if it happens in the waking state once, by some chance, it is there in the dream, it is there in deep. No more is your deep sleep without awareness. Throughout the sleep you are aware of the bliss, not when you wake up. But don't think you can reach that through deep sleep. Not possible. It has to be understood in the waking state. Just as in the morning you get up and say, this memory of blissful sleep, while sleeping you say, this is blissful. I see. I am bliss. I am not different from this bliss. This is Turiya. Now where does Om sound come into the picture? When you say Om, there is there. When you write Om, it's a Chandrakala. There is a small dot up there. That is the last part of Om. It's called the unvocalized Om. Because when you say Om, don't say Om like that. Om. It's like you ring a bell. Does it stop there? It goes on. This is the Ardham. That unsaid sound represents Turiya. So the Mandukya Upanishad describes these three states, waking, dream, deep sleep, and the Turiya, and says Om actually represents this. Can you conceive of a state where under all other conditions of deep sleep, there is also awareness? This can happen only if the mind in its waking state is free of opposites, free of hatred, free of attachment, free of all the conditionings that pull it down. If the mind, so therefore all sadhana is intended to bring this about. Sadhana is intended to bring about a purified mind which is capable of understanding. I want to say experiencing, because in Turiya, there is nobody experiencing, it is itself there. The moment I enter the picture, there is no Turiya. There is an I, but that I is the universal I, not the single I connected with my personality. This is the aim. Now, if through sadhana or through the practice of yama niyamas, our body and mind are purified and made free of all the opposite emotions that pull us into pieces, if the mind can be at peace in the Jagrata Avasta, then there itself it can experience or understand Turiya. And then that person, when he goes to sleep, you cannot call it Sushupti, it is also Turiya, because it's a continuous process. It's not as if one cuts one out and goes into the other. Because when you experience Turiya, Turiya is there even when you are in the Jagrata Avasta. It's not something attained. There's a beautiful text called the Ashtavakra Gita. Many years after Yajnavalkya's advice to Janaka, the great sage Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra means bent in 8 places. Maybe he was a cripple. 8 vakras. Somebody explained to me once that the Ashtavakra, 8 vakras, means the Ashtasiddhis of the Vibhudipada, which are actually bent, which bend the mind, not allow it to be straight. Anyway, the great sage Ashtavakra came. Now I must tell you about the Ashtavakra Gita. Please don't go and read the Ashtavakra Gita. This is all I need. You need a background for it. You need to work. People say, oh, I read the Vasishta, Yoga Vasishta. Then it's all an illusion. Then I'll smoke a cigarette and come back. So all these, there are times and situations when these texts have to be taught. Why I'm saying this? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who everybody thinks is a Bhakta, mostly. Oh, he was devotee of the Holy Mother. No, he was a Bhakta. Okay, fine, accepted. No, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa once told Swami Vivekananda, his most well-known disciple, who went to the West and so on. He said to him, you think that you are a jnani and I am a Bhakta. Actually, it is the reverse. I am the jnani and you are my Bhakta. So, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to teach the Ashtavakra Gita. It's also there, Samhita Gita, to Swami Vivekananda when he was a young man, Narendra Datta. Alone. Not even to the other of his close disciples. And when he heard somebody come, he used to close it and put it under the pillow and say, Hari, Hari, Ram, Ram. Because he knew that everybody won't get the benefit of this Ashtavakra Gita. Because it's to be done when you have properly done your sadhana, when you are clear, your mind is clear. Not so, there are people who say, I am a follower of so-and-so, so I don't follow any discipline. Have you looked at the life of this person who talked about it? Fully disciplined. Daily yoga. In fact, I'm talking about one particular person. If he even saw blood somewhere, he would faint. So how would he eat anything non-vegetarian? Everyday yoga practice, listening to beautiful Vedic chantings, leading a life of purity, not saying a single lie. And that person says, talks about the Ashtavakra Gita, you can understand. Not simply use it as a excuse for doing whatever you like. Right? Because I'm at the moment working on a book which is essential. Because I know people who say, oh, we have read Krishnamurti, so we don't believe in. I also knew him, so I'm writing a book called Upanishads and J. Krishnamurti. It's necessary. Just like Sadashiva Brahmendra wrote a text, Yoga Sudhakara, to link yoga and Vedanta. I think this link also is, people misunderstand. And then you do whatever you want, and why? I have read Krishnamurti. So, Ramakrishna used to, and when he saw somebody else coming, he would put it, Narendra, why? Why are you being so secretive? He said, because they won't understand a thing, and they would become worse than what they were before. So, why did I mention this? Anybody? So Ashtavakra, see? We are still in Jagrata. So Ashtavakra walks into Janaka's territory and meets Janaka. Of course, he's a sage, so he's welcomed with a proper whatever. And then he asks him, hey, Janaka, so are you free now? You got moksha? You're free? Janaka says, yes, I have experienced samadhi, so. So what happens? He says, when I go into samadhi, I realize that my identity is not this much. It's this whole universe is Brahman. Nothing else exists. When I go into samadhi. So Ashtavakra says, so will you come out of samadhi? Yes, I come out of samadhi. So to experience that you have to go into samadhi. Yes. When you're out, you're not. No. Then you're not free. And then begins the teaching of the Ashtavakra. He says that is when Turiya is touched, Turiya is there all the time. There is no going in, there is no coming out. But to begin with, you need to go in and understand the inner before you see that the inner and the outer are the same. Otherwise, how will you know? So all the practices that help you to center yourself one-pointedly, freeing your mind from all distraction and going to the essence of your being are essential. Starting with chanting, for instance, every morning, if not all, at least some people, get up, have a wash and chant the Gayathri. Right? This Gayathri mantra is from the Rig Veda. The 124th or 26th mandala is the Gayathri. Vishwamitra is the Rishi. Please understand, Vishwamitra name itself means friend of the universe. Vishwamitra. Now he gave the Gayathri to us. Now Gayathri is chanted. How is the Gayathri chanted? Please understand, don't make a song out of Gayathri. Gayathri Chandas, it has to be done in that particular Chandas to have any effect. Don't put it in your car reversing mechanism. I'm telling you, it's so unbearable. I go to Kutch and somebody is driving me, he's reversing it. Om Bhur. See, can you shut that off? It's not a song, it's a mantra. Give enough respect for it. Understand what it is. And that too, it is to be chanted silently, not sung in loudspeakers. It's not a song, it's a chant. If it was a song, it would have been in the Samaveda, not in the Rig Veda. Sama Gayanti, I understand, not Rig Veda. And the Chandas is given so much so that the whole Chandas is called Gayathri Chandas. So, just look at the meaning of the Gayathri. Om. We have discussed the Om now. So, do you realize that the whole discussion we have on the Mandukya Upanishad today that we had, it's all there in the first word of the Gayathri, Om. Then it says Bhur-Bhuvasva. Please, don't mistake it is not Swaha. Om Bhur-Bhuvasva. Swa is the short form of Swarga. And what is Swarga? Sushupti. And what is Bhur-Bhuva? Bhuloka and Bhuvarloka. And Bhuloka is waking state of Prakriti that we experience, and Bhuvarloka is the interim dream state. Swa, not Swaha. Bhur-Bhuva-Swa. Swa is Swarga, which means you have no idea what to do. You are in complete bliss. Of course, there is Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, but normally. So, what the Mandukya described is already there in the first verse of the Gayathri. Please note. Tat Savitar Varenyam, that Savitar, controller of the universe, I, Varenyam means I worship. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, I meditate upon that effulgent deity. And what is the prayer in the end? Dhyo Yana Prachodayat, may my intelligence and understanding be stimulated. This is the Gayathri. May my intelligence and understanding, Dhi, be stimulated. Prachodayat, may you please give me the stimulation of my Dhyo. Dhyo Yana Prachodayat. The Gayathri. Now, why did I refer to the Gayathri? See this, I said the same thing, and there are so many understandings, different. It's good. What did you say? Right. You, to the point. Which means you have to start looking for it inside, and when you see it fully inside, you see that the inside and the outside are the same. Which is why, if you look at any picture of Ramana Maharshi, you will not see him with closed eyes. He has already seen inside, and when you open it, outside and inside are not different, they are the same. This is also what the Ashtavakra Gita, what Ashtavakra is trying to tell Janaka. Come to that state where you don't have to go into Samadhi and still are the same, which is also called Nirvikalpa or Nirbija or Sahaja. So, I'm also trying to tell you, don't think that all this is very difficult. It is the mind which as an excuse brings in this word. Oh, this is all very difficult. It's meant for sannyasins and not for not sanya but only sins. So, this is all the mind's excuse. It is meant for everybody. Of course, sannyasa is one of the ashramas. But if you go into the Upanishads, you will hardly find any rishi who has given us the Upanishads, which everybody agrees is the Shruti. Who is a sannyasi? Show me one. I'm not saying anything against sannyasa, please. It's a wonderful thing, but it's not meant for everybody. When everything is over and I've done, then I can say, okay, now, but not. Now it's become very common to jump from brahmacharya to sannyasa. Watch out. You can say that I will live as a brahmacharya all my life. Okay. But don't say I am taking sannyas, because such an is such a lofty thing that in this world it's very difficult to practice. You can hardly find. We live in ashrams. Not me, I'm not a sannyasi, that's okay. And when you say you're going for bhiksha somewhere, is that bhiksha? It's all arranged. And usually you have a hefty dakshana with bhiksha. Is that? I used to know two people who, there may be others, please, who I know, who I think are great sannyasis. And therefore that color has to be respected. The orange, which is a lofty thing. Gerua is a lofty thing. So, one was the Paramacharya of Kanchi, Chandrasekhara Saraswati, or Chandrasekhara Bharati. I don't know which was his Dashanami name. Saraswati. Chandrasekhara Saraswati. Chandrasekhara Bharati Sringeri. Chandrasekhara Saraswati, he is an ideal sannyasi. Here is an ideal sannyasi who never even stepped into a vehicle. Impractical, I understand, for us. But we are not sannyasins, right? He walked. Wherever he went, he walked. And if he goes traveling to some place, and if there was a big family which invited him to stay in his house, he would say, I will stay with you, I will allow you to be my, but my bed will be made in the Goshala. Straw was put and bed was made in the Goshala outside. He would not step into. This is Sannyasa. I'm not saying everybody should be Sannyasa. That's not what I'm saying. Then I knew one person who did not wear Gerua, who wore only a white colored cloth and who was not clean shaved, head shaved, but who was a Jatadhari, was Maheshwarnath Babaji. And he followed the traditional sannyasi way of not staying for he even did not stay for more than 3 days in one place. But for my sake, sometimes he used to stay for a few more days, but normally not more than 3 days in a place. One day I asked him, Babaji, what is this? Every 3 days we are dislocated from one place to everything is changed. He said, because if you stay for more than 3 days in a place, you will develop roots and find it difficult to get out of there. And he hardly ate any food. But what he ate sometimes, whatever people gave. Or, as a brahmachari to train, used to make me make chapatis and with some atta. This is, he didn't call himself a sannyasi because he was from the Nath Sampradaya. In Nath Sampradaya there are both householders and sannyasis. But his life was like that. So we need not attempt the impossible. We can live on this earth like I'm normal. Actually I shouldn't be staying in a hotel, but kya karna hai? And in our sampradaya, which is the Nath Sampradaya, we are supposed to keep a dhuni going all the time. Babaji exempted me. He said, Tera to nahi hoga. Fir kya karenge Babaji? He said, Shivratri or Guru Purnima mein dhuni jalao. So this is what I do. And he also exempted me from wearing anything in the ears. He said, तुम्हारा काम अलग सा है, तो कहाँ US में जाओगे नहीं? Germany में. I said, I don't want to go to Germany or US that time. कान में ये सब पहन के कहाँ जाओगे? हाँ. I said, बाबा जी मैं कहीं नहीं जाना चाहता हूँ, आपके साथ ही रहूँगा. हाँ, but he said, काम करो अपना, जाओ. So, here you are. So, we have kind of looked at the Mandukya Upanishad. I won't say we have totally studied the Mandukya Upanishad because I told you, The Karikas go into several pages in 1 hour, 1.5 hours. We probably can't do that, I understand. But I think I'm trying to simplify it, and you have grasped it somehow, right? In some way. This is where we intend to go. Now we come to this point. Is this going an actual physical process or even a mind process? Or is it that you touch it when you're not going anywhere? Let me put it like this. There is another beautiful Upanishad, slightly larger than the Mandukya. It's called the Ishavasya Upanishad. One of the principal Upanishads. Ishavasya Upanishad begins with a beautiful sentence which is connected to our sadhana. It says, Ishavasyamidam sarvam etkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita ma gridha kasya svidhanam. This is the first shloka. Kurvanne veha karmani jiji visheta shatam samah. Then it says, this is the only path. Anyate tosti na karma lipyate nare, in which you work for 100 years in this earth and still the effect of karma will not stick on you. This is the only way. How? If you understand what is in the first shloka. Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Now the Isha Upanishad says, Isha here means the Supreme Being. Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam, that Supreme Reality, pervades everything here. Which means there is not a single place where that being is not there. Pure consciousness. Yatkincha jagatyam jagat. It is in everything, in this whole universe, which is called jagat. You know why it is called jagat? Because it is jagatyam jagat, moving always. Always in movement. Look at life. It's movement. Whether you know it or not, it's moving. From what is it called? What is that little thing in that mother's womb called? Embryo. From the embryo and before the embryo, everything is movement. Means growth, change. There is nothing that does not move. You might think this is of solid matter, it does not move. No, sorry. Ask a physicist. Lots of motion is going on here. We don't see it. There is nothing that does not move. Time, can you stop time? No. Time and tide waits for no man. It goes on. This whole life is jagatyam. Therefore it is called the jagat. Movement. As far as the mind is concerned, do I have to tell you that it is moving all the time? We know it. Not one single second will it sit quiet. Now, in this movement, the center of the movement is the Isha, the Supreme Being, whose center is everywhere and circumference nowhere. And it is that single being which is the only place where this movement does not have an effect. It's like the eye of a cyclone. Inside there is a place called the eye, which is a complete vacuum. Nothing happens there. And it is into this that everything is sucked in. In the same way, Ishavasyamidam sarvam, that Supreme Being, says the Upanishad, pervades everything here, everything that moves, which is the Jagat. Then it says something interesting. Tena tyaktena bhunjita. Let go and rejoice. From childhood we have been taught, to rejoice you have to gather, acquire, gather. Upanishad, let go and rejoice. Not only to let go of all the things which we think will escape from us, any day, any way they are going to go. If they don't go, you go. I go. I worked hard, I've made many things, but I go. In fact, there are many monuments today standing, but those who built the monuments are nowhere in sight. They're gone. So therefore, why get caught up in anyway? Let go. When you say let go, it doesn't mean give up. One needs to have what is essential, but not get concerned if something is going away from us. Young people in love should think about this. Well, good to be, but don't get too concerned if it's moving away from you. Think that the inner essence is always free, not bound by anything. Tena tyaktena bhunjita. Now, concerning the mind, this is a very important thing also, apart from physical things. We live in a world where we cannot actually enjoy the Supreme Isha, which is present at any time now, because we are always caught up in the past. And this past we project into the future. Nobody actually knows what the future is, right? What is the past? We project through the present and say, so this could be the future. Nobody knows, really. The only thing that we really should be knowing, but we don't, is the present. Why? Because we are always caught up in the past or what is going to happen in the future. I'll give you an example. If you have slapped me 20 years ago, suppose, right? So when you slapped me, how long did that slap remain? 10 minutes? 1 day? It was too hard if my tooth fell, of course. Maybe a few more days visiting the dentist and so on. But it's gone, right? That slap is over. Physically, as an entity, it does not exist. But will I let it go? No. I will carry it in my mind. This guy slapped me, till it becomes a festering wound, waiting to slap the person back. That person might have died and gone also. But I can't let go of it. I was hurt. Pleasant memories, okay. Bad memories also are stuck. Painful memories. So when you say, let go and rejoice, can we say that this, what happened, is over and done with? When I go to sleep, it's like a mini death, right? We don't know where we are in sleep. It's a mini death. Which is why in the morning we have to get up and brush our teeth and wash our faces. If we leave it for some more time, it will smell like a dead body. It's actually a rehearsal for the eternal rest. Every night we go through this. Trailer. So, can we, when we go to sleep, say, let the dead bury the dead? Can I be free of all these things that are torturing me, which don't exist now, but which are only there in my memory, playing like a tape again and again and again? Can I throw it out of the window symbolically and say, now I'm going to, when I get up in the morning, it's a new day. So, tena tyaktena bhunjita means let go of all these trappings, let go of all these pretensions, let go of all this arrogance and ego that we have, and be free. Then you enjoy. Bhunjita. This is also a good preparation for sadhana. And the Upanishad, in that shloka, the last say, Ma gritha kasya svidhanam. After all, whose wealth is all this? Don't crave for it. It doesn't belong to me only. This whole universe, one part may be mine. How much can I take? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, God laughs loudly when two things happen. One is when two brothers go into the field with a tape and measure and say, this is mine and this is yours. This God has a big laugh. After all, whose is this? And the second, when the doctor goes to a dying patient and says, I will definitely save you. God has a big laugh. So, if one understands this, now why I said this is also because when the concept of Turiya is explained, it's not as if you're trying to reach some state. It's when you're freeing yourself from everything else. The moment I say, I am going, the Turiya is over. So, in the same Ishavasya Upanishad, there is a sentence that comes a little later which says, Tad dure tadvad antike, it's far and yet it is so near. Which means the process of touching that is a process of letting go rather than adding up, even the mind. And all the sadhana that you do is to clear the mind so that it's neither in the past nor in the future, but now. Because the supreme reality, if there is one, Isha or Brahman, whatever you call it, cannot be a memory. It cannot be a projected memory also, thought also, it has to be now. So to stay there, when all reaching stops, the mind has settled down, knowing that no amount of circus is going to help, then perhaps it is understood. This is what the Upanishad is trying to convey. From the point of view of a Bhakta, this is from the point of view of a yogi or a jnani, from the jnani, from the point of view of a Bhakta, when he has transcended the little intellectual things that catch him. Intellect is good. We should improve technology, I understand. Without technology today, this won't work. There will be no YouTube. I am very much positive about technology. But technology doesn't take you to Turiya. From the point of view of a Bhakta, when he understands that the most intelligent person, now the Gayathri is asking for awakening and stimulating my intelligence, fine. But the most intelligent person very soon realizes the limitations of the intellect in this matter. Not in everything else, in this matter. And therefore, when the Bhakta surrenders, saying that this cannot be solved through argument, discussion, it's over. After all the 18 chapters of discussion, finally Krishna says to Arjuna, Sarvadharman paritveja mamekam saranam vraja. Aham to sarva papebhyo moksha ichchami maha. That stage cannot be artificially created. It will be reached only through the process of traveling, getting hit, sometimes falling, then getting up. Like Arjuna, I don't understand what you're saying, I can't. Oh, Arjuna, listen. Then Krishna calls him Mahabaho, put some spirit into him, mighty armed one, then continues. So the process is, I will also call you Mahabaho sometimes, mighty armed one, so that you don't sink down in your mind. Say, I can also do it. So the idea is, from the Bhakta's point of view, he has transcended the intellect which the intellect is trying to transcend. and already there. Everybody cannot imitate that. Some gifted individuals are there like that, can't imitate. Also pure Vedanta, who am I? We can't imitate Ramana Maharshi. We have to find it on our own. I would say the best thing would be to put all of these together in some way and try to move forward, and then you'll get to know what is best for you. Hold on to that. Where does Kriya come into the picture? It purifies the nadis. It cleans up the system. If you are a good Bhakta and if you cannot fix your attention on your Devata, the practice of Kriya will help you to clear that. If you are a Vedantin and your mind, you are not able to keep your mind quiet, the mind is always moving, there is a way out. You can practice Kriya Pranayama and get free of it. Tena tyaktena bhunjit. Let go and rejoice. So it is 11:30 now. So I need to also go. You need to also go. So today evening, while we will touch upon these universal factors, we will also touch upon some particulars, which is Kriya, and how Kriya can help, and so on and so forth. We will have a question answer session tomorrow, then you can ask me. Okay? You're not angry, right? Thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.